Welcome to Whimsical Rebellion. This is not Wednesday. Welcome to our live Monday. I just made myself dizzy. Q&A. Hi, Ed. No, go away. So, I promised you guys that I would be extra full of whimsy. I had to pause decorating the tree because, Jesus, it's almost midnight. And this is a super important message. And it's still Monday and we got to get this down. And I made myself my first eggnog of the evening. Tip. Fancy glasses that are open face make it easier to dunk peppermint Oreos. I won't do that just yet because then I'll be chewing. That'll be rude because we need to talk. We need to talk. So, all Christmas whimsy aside, can you tell it's my favorite holiday? We need to talk about the post-vaca. What up, viewer? Sup? How's your December going? Post below. Let me know you're here. So, we need to talk about the post-vaca energy time bomb that happens. You know this feeling if you're a people pleaser / codependent / enabler. You know this feeling because it happens after every vacation or every holiday. And it makes us crazy because it's like we love vacations and we love holidays, right? But we're so wrapped up in making it amazing for everyone else that we end up using up all of our energy and we end up creating this time bomb for when we get back home and we have to handle the other real life shit. Other people that are not people pleasers, vacation is actually a vacation. And they get back home and they're refreshed and they're like, all right, I don't hate my job anymore. Let's go back in there. And then they remember how much they hate their job because they get to see their coworkers again. But for us, it's not a vacation, right? Even though we tell ourselves it is. So people pleasers out there, how many vacations have you gone on that you came home so fucking exhausted? And so happy that everyone else had such a great time, or maybe even so miserable and extra exhausted because even though you tried so hard, despite things you couldn't control, people didn't have a great time, right? So what happens when we get home and we have that mental exhaustion and that energy time bomb is everything in our day-to-day life. So our jobs, our home, even if we get home to like a messy house, right? Our jobs, our home, all of that becomes so overwhelming. And it's so hard to get back into the rhythm of things. People pleasers and enablers always have this self-implosion when it comes to getting back into a routine. Because we exhaust ourselves so hard, we're not refreshed when we should be. And so getting back into the routine is even harder because really what it feels like, what vacation feels like for a people pleaser is a giant sack of pause when we know there's so many things we need to be doing, but we have to pause because we have to do this vacation. There are little blips of happiness, but really all we end up thinking about in the end is, Jesus, I have so much work to do when I get home. How am I going to get back into it? I still have a deadline. I should have cleaned the house before I left so I don't come home to a filthy house, which a lot of people pleasers will also do. We'll be running ourselves ragged and so exhausted before we even start the vacation because we're like cleaning our house because we're like, no, I need to come home to a clean house or else it's going to be impossible for me to get back into the swing of things. All of these things that we try to do to set ourselves up for success because we know how hard a vacation is. And it's so unfair, but so totally our fault. So I want to talk about a few of the reasons why this happens, like why this extra exhaustion. It's not just because we exert a lot of energy as empaths trying to make everyone else's experience great. It's not just that. So I'm going to talk about some of the reasons why this happens and talk about the things that you can do during to keep that from happening. And then talk about something that we can do if we get home and we're like, well, fuck, I didn't do any of those things. I did all the things I shouldn't have done. And now I'm in this spiral of, I don't even want to get out of bed because I have so much work and blah, 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 blah. You feel like a chicken running around with your head cut off. You feel like you're drowning in real life once you get back home and you don't know how you're going to get back on top again, which is the worst feeling ever. So one of the reasons, there's tons of reasons, but one of the big reasons that we begin this cycle, it's before we even leave. We start obsessing over everyone else's experience, especially Christmas. No matter what we're doing, whether we're going to see family, whether it's like kind of a Christmas vacation, if it's Christmas, it has like extra pressure, right? And especially if you're like me and you're like the queen of whimsy and you want to make everyone's experience like fucking magical and it breaks your heart when things don't go perfect, blah, 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 blah. So you allow your survival instinct to be triggered. That's one of the reasons that we start the spiral, is before we've even begun the vacation, and especially once we're in the thick of it, somehow our survival instinct is triggered. And it's that instinct of, and this is whether you're on vacation or whether you're just visiting family, whatever. It's the instinct of, I just need to survive today. Even when it's something fun that you wanted to do, it's this instinct of, I just have to get through the day without any arguments. I just have to get through the day. You're Darren like creeping around in the background. I just have to get through the day without anyone getting on each other's nerves. I just have to get through the day with getting everywhere on time. I just have to get through the day without letting someone hurt my feelings. I just have to get through the day without, I just have to get through the day. And survival instinct is the worst thing that you can do. It's there to keep you alive, sure. It's there to make sure you push out shit when that deadline comes, sure. But this is holiday. This is vacation. This is magical times. This is wonderful. This is supposed to be refreshing. The whole reason you planned it, it's supposed to be refreshing for you too. So when you let survival instinct get triggered, what you end up doing is you end up just piling it all on yourself, and it's imaginary. Because no one else on the vacation feels that way unless they too are people pleasers. And then y'all will just be like freaking out together. But so if you've ever been at a family function and you find yourself in a back room just losing your shit, popping Xanax with a friend who is also losing her shit, you found the people pleaser in the group. Congratulations. And everyone else is fine. Everyone else is fine. It's just that you're an empath and you feel everyone else's shit and you're a people pleaser and you can tell that so-and-so isn't very happy and you can tell that so-and-so is pissing off so-and-so, blah, 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 blah. So when you allow your survival instinct to get triggered, it just sets everything up into the spiral. It like triggers the spiral, basically. So what I like to do, and I just learned this recently because I went on this big trip to New Zealand and Australia and I had to do a lot of work. I do a lot of work on myself so I can help my clients, and I had to do a lot of work to set myself up for this trip because it was a big trip. It was 10 days out of the country. 11, something like that. Yeah, 10 days out of the country. I had my niece with me who was so important to me. I had Darren with me, and I just started to feel all of the old stuff kind of coming through, and I was like, I need to learn some new tools. So one of these tools is setting your intentions. I learned and implemented this. It's fantastic. And my niece, even when I would forget to do it, she'd be like, oh, we didn't set our intentions for today. Intentions. So when you wake up in the morning, make it a whole group thing. When you're having your coffee all together in the morning, or even if everyone's like rushing around to get ready, you just storm into the room in your nightgown and be like, wait! We need to set our intentions for today. And what that looks like you exposing yourself, being a little bit vulnerable, trying to get everyone to do the same, but everyone's answer is fine. It's fine. Even if they don't answer correctly, but setting your intentions of what do I want to experience today? This can clear up so many miscommunications. This can eradicate so many potential fights and bullshit by setting your intentions out loud. So if you know that there's something that you're wanting to do that day and maybe you want to experience calmness and serenity, like cozy feet by a fire and warm eggnog, setting that intention out loud might help you end up not going down a spiral of no one else in the room knowing that's what you wanted, and they all want to go have like a fucking adventure, and you're like, oh. So setting your intentions out loud is huge, and also it helps the whole room, the whole group, whoever is involved in this vacation holiday, it helps them all connect first thing starting out the day. It helps everyone be aware of each other's intentions for their experiences for that day. So it kind of gives you a little bit of support because someone else, if they start to see you kind of getting a little anxious or kind of getting a little down, they might remind you and be like, you wanted to experience calmness today. You don't look very calm, and you can have a conversation about it. It's really cool. It's a really fun activity. And don't worry, it doesn't feel like team building or anything like that. Worst thing ever. Don't do trust falls at Christmas. Someone ain't gonna catch your ass because they have a grudge. So that's what I like to do for keeping that survival instinct from being triggered, because that's what'll happen is you'll end up getting reindeered into someone else's agenda for the day, and then you're just surviving. And then you're not enjoying the vacation. It's your vacation just as much as it is anyone else's, okay? So another thing is reminding yourself, I had to do this as well. I had to send my boyfriend and my niece to the Natural History Museum by themselves. I think it was our second to last day in Australia. Because I was like, I had to sit and ask myself, what is something I haven't given myself yet on this trip? What is something that I need to give myself so that I can fully absorb and be in love with this trip as much as everyone else is? Because as a people pleaser, you're the one that's enjoying it less than everyone else because you're freaking out about everyone else. And I was like, I had to sit there and really ask myself, and I was like, ooh, some alone time. Like, and I love people. I'm not an introvert, so I don't need like alone time to like recharge, but I wanted alone time so I could sit and really absorb everything that had happened, all the experiences, all the wonderfulness, because I didn't want to have to do that when I got home, do that before the vacation ends. And so I had a conversation with Darren. I was like, listen, I love you. I'm not trying to like push you off on Freya or vice versa, but can you take her to the museum without me so I can take care of myself for a couple hours? It worked out fine. He's super understanding. And even when someone's not understanding, like, put your foot down. You know what you deserve and what you need. You would make anything that anyone else needed during the vacation happen. Make what you need happen, okay? So you also need to tell yourself, because trust me, that conversation almost scared me out of just going to the museum anyway. Like the conversation I was like, oh, he's going to get mad. He's going to be like, oh, really? So you don't want to be around it? Like what, all the fake pre-conversations that we have, you know, you do this if you're a people pleaser. So it almost scared me off from actually speaking my truth. But instead, I had to sit there and say, why? Like, why does my body and my mind, my soul need this? Why is it important for me to have this conversation? And the answer was, because I'm fucking awesome and I deserve to be as in love with these experiences and this vacation as everyone else. Like, I had to see it as I deserve to enjoy this vacation as a traveler rather than the host. I deserve that. Everyone deserves that. Vacation should never be about one person being fucking miserable, which is usually what happens during the holidays, right? The mom or the grandma is just like, fuck, and just hoping that like nothing sets on fire or nobody kills anyone else during the get together, right? But it shouldn't have to be that way. And more than shouldn't, it doesn't. If you take care of yourself and you know that you deserve to be just as in love with this vacation or this trip as everyone else. So those are two things that you can do to eradicate. I may have said 3, maybe 2.5 things you can do to go ahead and head off at the pass, triggering your survival instinct, okay? And a side note about survival instinct, no one gives a shit that you're sacrificing. If you're stepping up and doing what has to be done and being the one that just goes with the flow because you don't want to piss anyone off, you're not helping anyone because no one actually is asking you to do that. People pleasers, especially phoenixes. If you haven't taken my what type of people pleaser you are quiz yet, let me know. I'll send you the link. But especially Phoenix eye, whatever. Especially them, no one actually asks, but they take it on themselves. And they don't just take it on themselves, they take it on themselves kind of bitterly. Kind of like, well, I guess I'll just fucking zip it up just so everyone stays happy. I don't really want to be doing this anyway, but what the fuck ever. And people pleasers are the ones that find themselves on more vacations that they didn't even want to go on than anyone else. And they definitely find themselves ruining their own vacation that they did want by going along with someone else's agenda when they didn't want to. So that's how to head that off at the pass, the survival instinct trigger. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of my eggnog. So good. Okay, next I have my notes here because y'all know. You know I ramble. If you are just tuning in, my name is Audrey Kent. I am your guide through people-pleasing addiction recovery. We do these #Whimsdom sessions every Monday and Friday, especially now that I'm back in the States. It wasn't that great with the connection while I was away, but I'm here now. So getting back to it, that post-vaca time bomb, another thing that sets it into motion is you allow your empathy to be wrongfully tapped. This is so easy to do because, especially if we're in a big crowd, like if you experience this at Thanksgiving, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're in a big crowd, you feel, really, I feel like it's only people pleasers that feel this, that feel guilty for not being around more. There are some people that can like move away and never see their family, and then the few times, like twice a decade that they see them, they're fine, and they get to absorb their family, and they get to love being around them, and then be like, bye, and it's fine. That is not how it is for people pleasers. And I know it seems totally contradictory because I've lived away from home for years, and it doesn't mean that it's been easy. It means that I've been constantly plagued. I had been constantly plagued with guilt for not being around as much as I should have been, which was a thought I put in my own head. What is the level of should have been, right? And so whenever I would go, it was this mad dash to see everyone, to show face with everyone, this mad dash to make sure that I made up for the guilt that I felt, that I caused myself, which only resulted in this crazy rushed experience for everyone else. So then I would end up getting the response that I hated, which was, well, can't wait to see you next time. Hopefully you can stay longer. And that would trigger my, what the fuck? I went out of my way. I drove so far, and you're going to give me this shit? Like that little, did you have to say that little snide thing? Are you kidding me? And it's all, I brought it on myself. And this isn't all about making you an asshole. This is all about taking responsibility for what you're doing to yourself when you're not putting yourself first. So if you're at Thanksgiving or whatever huge get together, right? There's always someone that either you feel guilty about not being around enough, or maybe they've gone through something, you feel guilty that you weren't there while they were going through it, or you know they're going through something, whatever. And you're just simply trying to, maybe your survival mode is already kicked in, you're just trying to survive the evening. You're just trying not to drink too much, you're just sipping on whatever you're sipping on, maybe it's eggnog, maybe it's Dixieland sweet tea, maybe it's wine, whatever. You're trying not to drink too much. In the back of your head, you're trying not to eat too much. You're trying to avoid people that you don't really want to talk to. You're trying to control the experience of those you do care about. You're trying to help the people that you assume are drowning. We're usually the ones begging to help with the dishes, right? Even though we hate dishes, most of us. And so you're already trying to just survive, but then what ends up happening is your default mode of small talk. That doesn't work for people pleasers. We don't do small talk. We dive straight into someone's soul. We open up our empathy. And if they have a slight ounce of like something's wrong in their voice, we're like, oh my God, tell me about it. Maybe I can fix you in these 10 minutes that we're talking before they serve the dressing. Like, who the fuck are you to like think that you can walk in and fix everyone just because you feel guilty for not being around a lot? Like, stop it. Stop it. You're there to enjoy yourself. Why did that word take so long to come out? You're in there to enjoy yourself just as much as everyone else. And when we try to control others' experiences, it just ends up being weird and too deep and awkward for others. And all we're doing is just allowing our empathy to just be plugged into. We're offering it up when that's not necessary. It is not necessary for you to expose your empathy, to lift its skirt, just to make sure that everything's okay and everyone's okay. It's not necessary to expose your empathy, lift its skirt, rip open its blouse. That's not necessary for you to have a good time. That's not necessary for you to do that just to get through the night, just to get through conversations. It's not necessary for you to do to be liked and loved. Boom. Boom. I'm going to take a sip on that. It is not necessary to lift your empathy skirt just to be liked and loved. Yep. All right. So what can we do to keep that from happening? Because if you're a people pleaser, you're like, this is too real. This is awkward. This just happened. And I'm looking forward to it happening again for Christmas gatherings. So here's what we can do like during that time to completely protect, and not like in a weird put up a wall kind of way, but to respect and protect our empathy, because that's a gift. And when we expose it like that, when we allow it to be wrongfully tapped, we're abusing it, and that's when it turns into a curse. That's when it turns into that you're fucking drained, you're miserable, and then no one actually appreciates the help that you gave them anyway, and they're sure as shit not going to take your advice, especially if it was given in a very I need to fix you kind of way, because they probably didn't even ask for it. So what we can do is see, how can I word this? What we can do is acknowledge that everyone comes in and out of our lives to teach us something or for us to teach them something. Stop assuming that you're the one that's supposed to teach something. Open up yourself. Open up your perceptions. Open up to the idea that maybe everyone in that room, even the children, are there to teach you something. And not just teach you something like, I feel like I learned something today, but maybe just their presence, their aura, how they are, how they communicate, how they play, whatever, how they fight, how they bicker, how they make stuffing, whatever. Maybe they're there to teach your soul something. We've all met someone. This used to happen to me a lot when I was younger. It still happens, but I was always told, even when I was like 5, 6 years old, I remember my first person to say it that I remember was my second grade teacher. I think I was 6, and it was in a private school in Lowwater and in Atlanta. And she told me, she pulled me aside. I thought I was in trouble. And she said, "You're an old soul." And I was like, what? I'm 6 years old. I was like, okay, you're creepy. I don't know what's going on. And that kept happening throughout my entire life. And I thought that people would tell me that just because I was kind of smart. Like, okay, so maybe only old souls are smart, whatever. But it was because they felt something else. And now I feel that as an adult, when I communicate with other people, even with younger people sometimes, and there's this feeling, and if you've ever felt this, put the comments below, but there's this feeling of, wow, they've been around a time or two. Like, there's something calm about their energy. There's something ancient about their energy. They're like the quinoa of people, like an ancient grain. I'm hungry, can you tell? But there's something about them. So if you think about that, then who the fuck are you to walk in to a busy evening, a gathering, and walk up to an old soul and try to fix them? Right? Like, enjoy it. Walk into a room and enjoy everyone for how they are. And if they're old souls and they're there to teach your soul something, even if you're not communicating with them, awesome. If they're a young soul and maybe they could learn from you, it's still not your job to teach or fix them. They can still learn from you by watching you take care of your own energy and take care of your empathy and hold it dear like a gift and not allow it to be abused. You can teach so much without saying a fucking word, especially in big group settings, okay? You can be that person that everyone leaves the party going, did you meet blah, blah, blah? Yeah, she's just so like cool, like interesting. Like, you can be that person, I promise you. You don't have to be the one that everyone's like, Jesus, neurotic much? Do you think she was okay? I don't know, what's going on with her? Like, you can be that person that just radiates confidence and love, but you have to respect your empathy and not allow it to be abused, not use it as a way to seduce others. You don't have to do that. Okay, so the last way that this happens I'm going to talk about, because I know I can go on, but literally it's one of my favorite things to talk about because the holidays are such an amazing time for people pleasers, and they can be so destructive at the same time. So I'm really, really passionate about this, and not just because I have a cute outfit on. So another way that this can happen is the spiral, the post-vaca energy time bomb that you set up. Another way it can be triggered and set into motion is you allowed your restorative energy to be violated. And this is, again, in order for this to happen, your survival mode has to already be triggered. And we can go, right? We can go more than you've ever gone before. You can wake up earlier, you can go to bed later, you can get so much shit done that you never thought you could do at home because like, whoa, I have so much energy when I'm on vacation. And then it turns into when you're an adult, because remember when you're little, you can like wake up like it's Christmas morning. And do you remember that? Do you remember being like a kid and you're at Disney or whatever vacation and you wake up and you're like jumping on your parents like, why aren't you awake yet? It's not just because you were young and had energy and didn't have a few glasses of wine to go to bed. It's also because you had that beautiful childlike whimsy in your energy Children don't allow anyone to abuse their energy. It's theirs for the taking, for the keeping, and sometimes they're even stingy about giving it out to people. Like, they would never allow that to happen. And just as adults, we conform and we learn that it's what we should do to get by or be liked, be loved. So, what this looks like is when you exert that extra energy, whether it's you having a split thought of, well, I'd really like to go take a bath, but Auntie Caroline is just 3 glasses deep and she really needs an ear to listen to her right now. Whatever you're telling yourself is the reason that you can't go take care of you. You give the extra time to someone else. And you end up waking up exhausted every day. Maybe you stay up too late because FOMO, people pleasers, that is real. Fear of missing out. We're the last ones to go to bed at a party because we want to be there for the fun. We want to see everyone having a good time. We might miss a joke or two. And it's this really toxic thing that happens when taking care of yourself takes time. And people forget this. If you're in this group just to learn quick tricks to like walk into the bathroom and go, boop, I'm better, and just go back out and expect to be fine, you're not going to get that. Taking care of yourself takes time. Okay? If you want a really restorative meditation, you can't just pop in earphones for 5 minutes. It's a good practice to stay in the practice of meditating, but you got to do better than that. If you want to really relax and get back your energy, you can't just, oh my God, let me run and take a shower real quick. Maybe just give myself a whore bath with a wet paper towel and I'll be right back out to do whatever you guys need me to do. Like, go take a fucking bath. Get some Epsom salts. Scrub down. Turn on some music. Pour a glass of wine. Like, have an actual bath. A lot of people pleasers, when was the last time you had like a beautiful cinematic bath? We don't do that. We might do it a few times a year. And it's always when no one's home because there's no one else to take care of. Otherwise, it's gotta do it, rush through it. And then you're like, I took a bath, but you don't feel relaxed. It's the same thing. But you can always talk yourself into staying up that extra hour, waking up that extra 30 minutes earlier, or even though you're exhausted, getting up from the couch and helping someone with something that no one else is helping them with. You can always talk yourself into going that extra mile for someone else, and you have to do it for yourself. I'm not telling you can't help other people. That's not what I'm saying at all. I had someone comment on one of my posts before, oh, so God wants us to be selfish? Bitch, no, that is never what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you have to be the first one that you go the extra mile for. So yes, you can go the extra mile for other people, but you can't let that turn into, well, I stayed up too late helping so-and-so wrap presents, so I don't have time for a bath. I don't have time for a meditation. I just have to go to bed. No. If you spend extra time with auntie whatever, doing whatever that she needed help with instead of letting someone else handle it, then maybe you should stay up an extra 10 minutes, pop in some earphones and do a nice restorative, energetic meditation. Maybe you should draw yourself a bath. Instead of chugging a glass of wine and taking a Xanax to be like, oh, now I need to sleep. Maybe you should do something that actually helps your body get there. Maybe you should actually help yourself unwind. Maybe you should do some cognitive energy work to pull it all back into you. Cut your cords. There's so many things that I teach my clients that I don't even want to get into right now, but there's so many different techniques that we have for restoring our energy so that you wake up refreshed. You wake up not dreading having to see these people's faces again. You wake up excited instead of just like, oh, fuck, we have so much to do today. You have to be the one that restores your energy because nobody else will. Helping someone, going the extra mile for someone is not going to restore your energy, unfortunately. Okay? And just remember, it's not all about telling people no. Sometimes it's about realizing when we're asking to help in the first place. Okay? Don't take it upon yourself to be someone's savior. That's what we do most of the time. But also, no, if you'd rather go take a bath, tell her she can wrap fucking presents by herself. You got to go take a bath, okay? All right. So, those are the things that you can do during to help remember, like, ooh, I'm starting to feel stressed out. And those are some of the things you can do during to really help get back on the train. But what if you go through all this? What if you go through the trip and the vacation and all that and you didn't remember to do any of that? Blurp. And then you get home and you're like, no, I forgot to do any of that restorative stuff and now I'm drowning. And now the deadlines and the busyness and whatever. I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's my piano behind us and it's covered in stuff. That stuff is projects for the house. Endless projects for the house. Things that need to be hung, things that need to be installed, things that need to be fixed, things that need to be created, all kinds of stuff. And of course it was there when I got home. And of course my business was here when I got home. All the things that I need to do, the tweaks I need to make to the website, all the new things that I need to implement, all kinds of things that go into being an entrepreneur. And of course there are things I need to do for myself. And I want to share with you how even if you fuck up and you don't do any of that stuff, when you get home, before you even unpack your bags, I want you to take time, like serious time, like a whole hour, like take time for yourself, whether you like taking a bubble bath, whether you like sitting on the couch reading a book, whether you like waking up before everyone else, have a nice cup of coffee, whatever it is, I want you to take serious time for yourself. What up, Sarah? And I want you to switch your perspective to this, okay? You're not catching up. When you get home from vacation or a holiday gathering, holiday trip, whatever it is, you don't have to catch up. Despite everyone else running around in their own little souls, doing their own little things, this is your life. That's the bottom line. Whether you have others to take care of, you have children, you have pets, whatever, this is your life. Nobody else's. Despite everyone you're surrounded by, everyone else in the world. This is your life. And you have to take control of it. You have to love it. You have to respect it, which losing respect for it is what happens when we go down these spirals in the first place. And realize that in your life, there's no catching up. There's no fucking catching up. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes people tragedy to realize that this is the truth. But you ain't got time for the small, stupid anxiety shit. There's no such thing as having to play catch up in your own life. Because it's your life. Okay? It's really easy to be like, don't get upset about work deadlines. Don't get upset about a messy house when you get home. Like, yeah, like it's real easy to say those things, but this is a real easy perspective flip that I want you to realize. So if you start feeling overwhelmed, like you walk in the door and there's dishes that you forgot you had in the sink from 2 weeks before, like whatever, you walk in the door and you think, fuck, I have so much to catch up on. I want you to say out loud, there is no catching up. I don't have to play catch up. I have a chance to start fresh, to start over. That's it. You have the opportunity to live another day, and not just as like, be grateful you have a life, but you have the opportunity to see all of those projects with fresh eyes. You have an opportunity to come back to whatever projects, whatever deadlines, whatever crap you have going on, you have a chance to come back at it refreshed. Okay? Even if you forgot to do all that shit to protect yourself during the vacation, if you help flip your perspective when you get home and realize that you're coming back at this without having to have lost your sight for it, because we've all done that, right? We've all sat at a computer or whatever your job is for so fucking long that it doesn't even make sense anymore. Like, you just can't even stand it anymore. All of that. You don't trust your own judgment anymore. And you don't want to catch up to that. That fucking sucked. Like, you were dreading it when you left. You don't have to catch up to it. That's dumb. Why would you want to catch up to feeling like shit about it again? You need to be excited about the new chance, the fresh start, being refreshed, coming at it with new eyes. That's all you need to do. And it sounds really easy. It's not. It takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of quieting that voice that replaces self-love, that voice of, you're a fucking idiot, what did you do? Did you really need to stay that extra day? You didn't have enough money to do that. I can't believe blah, 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 blah. All of the shit that goes on. all of the stuff that manifests to fill the hole where your self-love should be. And you can start filling that self-love hole right when you walk in the door, before you even unpack and go, ooh, fresh start. You can even look at your suitcase like that instead of being like, fuck, I have all this fucking laundry to do. I gotta unpack. I gotta put it all back in the blah, blah. No. See it as like a tiny little fresh start. Open up your suitcase and be like, do I even like these clothes anymore? Maybe get rid of some of them. Or maybe be like, oh, I have a fresh start to like these clothes better, to put them where they actually belong, because you know you pulled them out of the dryer or out of that pile of clean laundry and it was at the bottom just to get them into the suitcase in the first place. Like whatever it is, even look at your suitcase as a fresh start. It's not about putting shit back in order when you get back home, because this is your life. Your life is whatever order it's in. Your life is a dirty suitcase if that's where your life is right now. That's okay. You need to know that you're not alone. That is not just normal, it's fine. It's more than fine. It's awesome because it's a thing. It's there. It's your life, okay? A dirty suitcase full of clothes, not a bad thing, all right? Being like in a room full of people, or some of them are fighting, someone's crying in the corner, uncle blah, blah, blah is drinking too much, kids are running around like crazy, that is fine. And it's beautiful because you're able to be there. You chose to be there. And if you didn't choose to be there, get the fuck out. But it's beautiful and it's fine. And it's not your job to fix anything. It is not your job to catch up with anything. It is your job to enjoy whatever's going on in that moment, to ask yourself what you need to enjoy it further, and to be grateful that you can see things with fresh eyes when you get back home. Okay? So, happy Monday, happy whimsdom session. I'm going to finish drinking my eggnog, dipping my peppermint Oreos in it. Oh my God. And I'm going to finish decorating my tree. And I cannot wait to see you guys again on Friday. Again, we do this every Monday and Friday. You can always message me or pop in the comments if you want a particular topic covered. And I would like you to know if working with me one-on-one is something that you're interested in. If you're like, too much truth was dropped in this video, and yes, that all sounds amazing, like it would work, but there's no way I'm going to be able to implement that on my own. It's fine. Like, you're okay. That is a totally normal thought to have, and you can absolutely apply for a 90-minute Lady Balls roadmap call with me, and it's 90 minutes where we get on the phone and we talk about just you, about what's going on with you, what you actually want out of life, how it's best for you to get there, and whether or not working with me one-on-one is actually going to get you there. And if not, that's totally fine. But you'll still be able to get some sort of roadmap to harness your lady balls to go get what you want and stop repeating these cycles that maybe felt too real while we were talking tonight. Okay? I love you guys so much. I will pop the link above for the Lady Balls roadmap application, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your Monday. I guess it's Tuesday now. Happy Tuesday.